Okay, welcome back to Breezy Metal. My name is Eric, and I got something new today. I ordered some square punches. I got two different sizes. We're just going to show you. I placed this order, and then I received it the next day. MetalPro, they ship fast, and I love it. So when I got it, this is what it looks like. Open it up. And that's how it's packed. I got a 1/4 inch square and a 7/16 square. And they come where they're hot dipped with the plastic on the ends, and you could tell there's like a oil film to keep them from rusting. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to set up. Let's do the 1/4 inch first. I'm going to show you how to set it up in the machine. And the machine I have is an MP 4500 FS. And we're going to put the square punch. I'm going to show you how to mount it in there, and then we're going to punch some holes. So, why would you use a square punch? Well, you could probably use it for different crafty ideas, but probably the main idea would be for a carriage bolt. So, when you mount these punches, you have to do it a little bit different, because when you use a regular round punch, you can just put it in there and then you start punching away. On the square one, you got to make sure that it's you got it orientated the right way where it matches your square die. So if we're going to be doing the 1/4 inch, if you look on the side, in another video I talked about the punch station and the punch and dies, but on here, so it's stamped a 1/4 inch on your punch, but then the die, remember, you can't have it where it's the same. It has to be a little bit bigger on the tolerances, so when you punch it, it pushes that slug and dumps it out the bottom. And that's why. Get out of here. There's just scraps and stuff, but you can see where it punches the slugs out the bottom. So, let's go ahead and we're going to set this up. I already took the last punch I had out. And then Ethan, come over this way. My cameraman, Ethan, my son, is going to move the camera because we're going to show more in-depth detail, when you put these in, so it's just easier to understand. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take that plastic off the end. And if you notice, there's a center finder on there. It's that little sharp point. So when you line up your marks on your piece of steel and you hit it with your punch and you leave that little divot, that's what you're going to find with that center finder. So you know that when you go ahead and you punch your holes, they're going to be exactly where you want them. So this is your die holder. And the MP 4500, essentially that's what the 4500 stands for, is the 45 tons. But I went around and I put the maxes on all the different stations. So like here on your punch station, the heaviest steel that we can punch is 3/8 max with this machine. So this is your die base, and you have a little set screw in the back. So what we're going to do is, now, I'm assuming, now most of the dies that I have, they don't have these flats on there, so I'm assuming we're going to leave the flat in the back by the set screw. So we're going to put that in. I'm going to turn this a little bit so it's orientated. That looks good. So it's an Allen set screw. Turn this just a little bit. think that looks good. I'm going to tighten up that set screw. Okay, so now on your punches, they come with this little C-clip. And I think the C-clip, when you put it in the housing, it helps it seat in there. But you need the C-clip on it. And it comes with it. The C-clip comes already installed on it. I think I ordered some before where it came separate. And all I had to do is push it on and it clips in place. So I'm going to go ahead. We're going to make sure that this ram is all the way to the up position. And it is. This is your punch nut. So what we're going to do is, I'm going to slip it on there. What you do is you push it up, and you'll feel it where it seats in there. And then just start by hand. Oh, see? It only went part away, and then when I jiggled it, it now went all the way up in there. And by hand, I'm just gonna tighten that by hand, and I'm not gonna totally snug it down. Because your die base, remember the set screw goes to the rear. When I put this in place, I'm gonna lift this up. Let's see. Make sure that's loose. I'm gonna come down just a little bit because this is up so high that the stripper is blocking it. So I wanna come down just a little bit. Okay, so the punch is lower than the stripper. I'm gonna lift this up and see how I fit it in place. So I'm gonna come all the way down now. Okay, so the ram is all the way down. The punch is inside the die. And the reason that we did that while I had this up is because we don't want the punch clipping the die or the die clipping the punch. We don't want anything to hit. So now it's free and clear. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go grab an adjustable wrench, just a small one. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start. The die base is 2 bolts. We're going to go ahead and we're just going to start those, but we're not going to tighten them down just yet. Yeah, so they're loose. Okay, so see, I can still move this around. So what I want to do is just eyeball it and make sure that that punch kind of is in the center of the die. And it looks like I need to turn this just a little bit. That looks pretty good. So now I can, as long as that punch stays where it's at, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to snug down the punch nut. Oh yeah, see? It moved on me. So we're going to kind of hold that so it doesn't move. And that looks good. So, everything looks good. I'm going to tighten these down. Yep, looks good. So, this is the other part of your stripper. So the stripper is very important. You got to have the stripper in place on both sides, because after you punch your metal and you tell the machine to bring the punch back up, as it's raising it, it's kind of stuck in the metal. And what it does is when it comes up, it'll hit the stripper, the punch will come out, and then it'll pull the punch out of your steel. So we're gonna put the stripper back on. Okay. All right. We're ready for business. Let's come this way. Now, remember, the size of the punch that you're using, which in this case it's a 1/4 inch, you can't punch anything over the size of the punch you're working with. So if it's 1/4 inch, you can't punch anything thicker than that than a 1/4 inch. So we're just going to play with some 1/8 inch, and this, remember, this all works off of mild steel. So what I did was I just made some reference marks on here. We're going to take center punch, and we're going to go ahead and we're just going to hit. And this is just for demonstrations. Usually when you watch the videos on the Ironworker machines, they stick the metal in there and just start blasting holes in it. And that's all fine and dandy, but they never really show you exactly, well, if I want a hole exactly in this one spot, how do we make it where it's exactly where you want it? And this is where I'm going to show you. So, I just made 6 marks on there, and let's go over and we're going to punch some holes. So, we're going to go ahead and raise the ram. Okay, so what we're going to do is, you're going to put your metal in there, and since I have those divots from the center punch, that little center finder, that little sharp piece of metal, we're going to line it up, and it'll find it. Let's come down a little bit. Yep, it's got it, see? Whoop. Before I punch, this is punch oil. Don't use a lot, just a little bit. Let's do a couple little dabs. See, it's got it. Now, if you want the square orientated in a certain way, you have to hold your metal there. But in my case, it doesn't matter, because when you put your carriage bolt in there, the whole point of the square hole is to hold your carriage bolt. So here you go. That's it. It already dropped the slug out. So if I had to, I don't know where it went. It's in there somewhere. Anyway, let's punch another one. Oh, hold on. There it is. Okay, let's come over here. All right, so what we'll do is we'll just wipe this down because I got oil on it. There you go. And 1/4-inch carriage bolt. Oh, baby. Anyway, this is galvanized, so it's a tight fit. If I had a zinc plated one, it'd go right in there. Same thing with when you buy hardware for galvanized. If you go to use a zinc plated nut, it doesn't fit right. It's like you have to get another galvanized one. But anyway, when you go ahead and you cinch down on the other side, it'll seat it in. I wish I had a regular zinc plated one. Anyway, if I would do a nut on the back side, I'd pull it in. Anyway, the next video we're going to do, I'll see you on the next one, but we're going to do the 7/16. And remember to thumbs up and subscribe. And again, my name is Eric, and this is Breezy B Metal, and I'll see you in the next one.